Hello, welcome to this rig rundown. It's about 30 degrees here in England, one of the hottest days of the year. So nice and sweaty setting all this up today, but I'm happy with it now. And there's a few bits and pieces always, gas as it is to acquire, to finish everything. But this is how it is at the moment. Plenty of fun, I must say. So just to give you a general overview of the room, it's quite a small room. I've got the desk rammed in the corner there. It's sort of the best way to do it because I do need to have access to the parts for building pedals and the other parts for building pedals, as well as random, bits and bobs. It's real handy to have those drawers there. Soldering iron, monitor, interface, guitar, and the Squier jazz bass, classic vibe. Parts caster telly, that's going to actually get a different neck soon, funds permitting, and Harley Benton. And my wife got these lights. They're pretty decent. I think I can tuck them under the couch double bed thing. So as you can see, just to show you, it's nice and warm outside. So let's start with the cab, because that was a bit of a pain in the ass to wire up this morning, but we got there in the end. It has got two G12K 100 speakers on the bottom and a Warehouse Green Beret greenback clone and a 2003-ish Celestion Vintage 30. I was going to get another Green Beret, but they're about 120 pounds. I found this Vintage 30 on eBay for about 60 pounds, so just went with that for now. Plus, it's nice to have that flavor. This does have the Marshall Vintage 30s, but they're a bit different. I kind of just really wanted to have both. Such a speaker nut that it's quite important for me to have some of my favorites with access to them all the time. So that's why it's got the stupid, 3 different speakers in this cab. But lots of fun in the end. I've also wired it, and I'll do a separate video on this, but don't worry if this doesn't make any sense. They're all in parallel, but there's make break jacks so that I can plug into any single speaker I want, or I can have stereo pairs left and right. So if I plug into the bottom G12K, it will actually disconnect the other 3 just by plugging that in with the break jack. Same with that one. If I plug into this one alone, I get all of them. But if I plug into that one, it disconnects in between here, so I get the pairs. Anyway, we'll do another video on that, but lots of fun. 6505, I'm a big Parkway Drive fan, as well as a lot of that kind of early 2000s metal and even 90s metal, so I love that thing. But I probably use the Engel preamp a bit more because it's loads of fun, super tight. I've got the Boss SX700 in the loop of the Engel for mainly reverb and EQ, sometimes some modulation effects. The Engel tube preamp is awesome because the headphone amp can also be used as a power amp for your cab. It's only about, I think, 1.5 watts either side. Plenty of volume for bedroom playing. It's actually great. So I can have a simple stereo power amp rig straight into the stereo cab from here if I want. And that's plenty of fun. Moving on to the second cab, Marshall 1936V or Vintage with the Vintage 30s. That's a stereo cab from the factory, or mono or stereo. So I'm planning on using the GX700 into this. I'm probably going to get the Harley Benton, I think it's called GA400 stereo power amp, because it has resonance and presence on both channels, which is super handy. So it might make it a bit more alive sounding at low volumes. Otherwise, I do rely quite heavily on the EQ in the GX to give a kind of smiley face curve after the amp modeling. But yeah, hopefully the other power amp will kind of solve that problem, just so I don't have to use the EQ on that. It's a bit, just easier to tweak, as well as having a stereo power amp. I did recently sell my Marshall Valve State power amp, which was a pretty cool unit. Possibly a mistake selling that, but it's done now. I've got another video coming on that as well. Pedal board, not wired up right now, but this is the pedal PCB Electro Vibe, and it sounds awesome. So happy with that. Shout out to DK Pedals, I think his channel is called, who kind of inspired me to build one by showing his video with plenty of tips. Then the pedal PCB, what is it? It's the Tube Driver solid state version, the Buffalo TDX clone or something like that. There's a full tone OCD clone, and then DD200's great, as is the Boss PS5. And then there's a Wampler Euphoria Ecstasy clone on the way. And then the Marshall SC20, love that thing. It's got a warehouse, the brown 10-inch, I can't remember what it's called. It's American voiced, low wattage sort of thing. It sounds great. I really like it in there. Wouldn't expect that, but someone on the Marshall forum recommended it, and I gave it a try. Love it. And then the Fender Custom Champ, that thing's really cool as well, really unique sound. So it's nice to kind of do weird things with both of these, but probably eventually going to get a captor for that, or for both, so that I can record them direct, because they do sound great. And then take the line out, the captor, for reverb and delay through that cab. Couple of mics, SM57 and it's the Thomann home brand ribbon clone, T-Bone something, easy to find, but it sounds great with the SM57. It was about £69 or something compared to a Royer, which will set you back, I don't know, 1,500 or something these days. Besides that, the Genelex 8010s, they're really great in a small room. I don't want to have too much bass, so they're great. And the Sennheiser HD650 headphones, they are also great. Had them for 6 or 7 years now, I think. A couple more pedals under here. There's a orange back Spangita thingy. Wah. And yeah, it's nice to have a little hidey hole and reach around spot here just for camera. And I've got to sort out a back plate for all the jacks for the cab. But it's just, you need to be able to get in there a little bit. So it's always a balance between space. You know, you want to have space behind the stuff, but not too much, because you eat into your space in your room. And I do think having the cabs on wheels, it just makes it a little bit more, I don't know, it just looks a bit better in kind of a home studio environment, and they're way easier to move. Same with, you know, just having the little monitor stand just to give that gap underneath, makes it sound a bit better and just makes it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, I would say. So yeah, I've crammed a lot of words into this video and a lot of functionality into the room, hopefully, but it just has to be that way because I do recording in here, as well as, you know, designing and building pedals, and even, you know, a bit of gaming from time to time as well. So it's got to be kind of set up pretty well in order to be able to live and also, you know, switch between activities and whatnot. One little tiny thing I was going to speak about is, if I can find it, so this is in the dongles drawer. These things are super handy just for extending cables, even speaker cables. I don't tend to worry too much. I mean, this is not going to melt. It's a pretty good connection. If you do have one halfway between it, you know, an out you've got cranked and its cab, could be worth checking you're getting signal at low volume before you go smashing too many notes through it, because that's how you can damage things. But yeah, these are super handy just for extending out different amps to different cabs when they're like this, because if you don't want to have tons of cables running everywhere all the time. So yeah, highly recommend these. Just a female mono 1/4 inch coupler. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope that all makes sense. Post your questions and comments below. That would be always much appreciated and usually responded to promptly. Thank you.